Hi, my name's Ashton and welcome back to Ashton's EDC. Today I'm going to be doing the part number 2 of my pocket knife collection. And today I'm going to be focusing on and sharing all of the knives in my collection that are from CRKT. So CRKT is the brand. It stands for Columbia River Knife and Tool, or CRKT for short. Most people just say that. I don't think many people say the full name. They just use the acronym. But it's more of a considered a budget brand of folding pocket knives. I have quite a few from this this company. Partly because that was just what was available in my price range and accessible. I got most of these at Cabela's, I think, so easy enough to get my hands on. And I don't consider them super budget. Some of them are a bit more expensive, even for the materials, but they do have some really unique designs and work with a lot of different knife designers and makers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the camera down towards the table, and I'll show you one by one each of the knives that I have in my collection from CRKT. Alright, so here we are. I'm looking down at the table. So to start off, the first knife that I'll be sharing is the CRKT Overland. This is a knife designed by Schwartz, TK Schwartz, I believe. Really nice, kind of cool design. It's got this, I guess you would call this kind of a sheep's foot blade. It has the G10, green G10 handle on this side, and then just the stainless steel, I believe, on this side. Got some nice orange accents. You can see there's a little ring around the pivot there, and then the orange backspacer. Same on this side. This is a frame lock knife, using a thumb stud for the deployment. It's got a nice deep carry. Well, the clip itself doesn't go all the way to the end, as you can see, but it is a nice kind of loop over flush pocket clip design. Really nice pocket knife from CRKT. It's got pretty nice action, as you can see, and is just a nice blade shape. Pretty big, large size handle. I can get all of my 4 fingers on there. Got some pretty large jimping here on the spine of the blade. Give you a few specs about this knife. So the blade seal on this is a 8CR13 MOV, and it has a stonewash blade. The blade length, according to the website at least, comes in at exactly 3 inches. As you can see there, comes in directly at 3. And the overall length comes in at 7.38 inches. So just a little bit over 7. And it is 3.6 ounces. As I said, it has G10 scales and is a frame lock. So a really nice knife from CRKT. Now these knives aren't in any particular order, so I'll just continue going at them. Next up, I have this. This is the M16 14ZSF is the model, but it's from the M16 lineup. This is probably one of the largest knives I have in my collection. And so if I ever need a super hard use knife, this is usually the one that I'll go to. So this one, it has the Tanto blade shape there, as you can see, with partial serrations here on the bottom. Kind of an interesting design. I'll get to this in a minute, but it has these kind of dual, I guess you could say, dual flipper tabs. Although you can't really open the knife using this one, but when you do that, then it gives you this guard here. So this is, of course, meant to be a tactical knife, so if you're gripping it, then your hand won't be able to get pushed up past or onto the blade with those guards. This has a, let's see, the blade seal is the AUS 8, and the handles are this glass reinforced nylon. I believe sometimes it's called Zytel or something like that, but it's just a glass reinforced nylon. The blade length on this one comes in at 3.99 inches, so just a tiny bit under 4 inches. with an overall length of 9.25 inches, and the weight on this one is 5.7 ounces. So it is a bit of a heavier blade, and this one uses a liner lock, but it is kind of different in how it works. So you can see the liner there, but if I were to press it right now, it won't close. Being this is a tactical knife, and a large tactical knife at that, it has a secondary locking mechanism. So if you see this little red piece here, this is sort of like a little switch. So it has a spring, so if you were to pull back like that, then only by pulling back on that will the liner be able to be disengaged. So if I pull back like that, then I can now press in and close the liner in that way. What that means is that how I usually disengage this, if I'm using the lock, I'll go to the switch here with my thumb and then disengage the liner with my index finger, and then push on this little tab here to close the blade. It does have this, which I think is sometimes called a thumb stud, but you can't use it as a thumb stud. It's completely flush with the handle, but essentially it's just used as a stop bar. So you can see it engages there to keep the blade open, or to stop the blade from going past. So that's the CRKT M16 14ZSF. All right, next up, just one moment here. We have this one. This is a CRKT helical. This is a flipper, has a flipper tab there, as you can see, uses a liner lock. The blade steel on this one is 8CR13 MOV with a blade length of 3.52 inches and an overall length of 8.1 inches. This one has the 8CR13 again, has this kind of tanto blade, but it's kind of a I think it's kind of an interesting tanto shape in that there isn't so much of a pronounced edge right here like on a lot of tantos. It's almost more of a Japanese tanto, but still really nice. Has some jimping here on the top. This one uses aluminum handles with a liner lock there. Has a loop over pocket clip, which is pretty nice. And yeah, nice pocket knife, nice and slim, as you can see. Has the flipper tab there, which is kind of an interesting, so like a rounded off flipper tab, but with some jimping, so you can still get a good purchase on there with your index finger. Only complaint I have about this knife is that these aluminum scales are pretty slippery. They're very smooth, so you might be able to see I tried, it didn't work out super well. I'm gonna try it again, but I tried to just with some sandpaper to sand up the surface there, because otherwise it's very smooth. You can almost hear like it just has a super smooth feeling to it. So there's not much to grip onto. Obviously you have the jimping up here, but not my favorite handle material, at least in this kind of configuration, but I'm hoping to kind of do a bit of a modification to give some more grip onto there. So that's the CRKT helical. As well, I just wanted to show this one is a Ken Onion design, and I didn't mention it for the CRKT, or the M16, excuse me. This is a Kit Carson design. You might be able to see that right there, and there's the model. Next up, we've got another knife from the M16 lineup, I guess. This is the M16-03KS. Kind of more of the, I guess, standard M16 knives. This one has a spear point blade. Bit more of a premium blade steel, in my opinion. This one has the 12C27 Sandvik. Stainless steel. Get some measurements here. The blade length For this one is 3.55 inches, so just over 3.5 inches, with a overall length of 8.25 inches, so 8.25. This one just has a stainless steel handle with a spear point blade there. This one uses a frame lock. Kind of interesting how the frame lock is designed here. As you can see, if I hold it this direction, there's essentially zero frame lock access to get your thumb at it from this direction. There is a slight, I'm not sure if I can show this on camera here, but right here there is a slight, I guess, divot or indentation. But typically how I think it's supposed to be used is it's supposed to be closed using your index finger. Because if you holding the blade right and go to close it, if I put my index finger right here, it really slots in there really easy, and then just pull out, and disengages the blade. You can do it like this with your thumb, but it's just not as easy. So yeah, that is the M16 03KS. Next up, pretty popular knife from CRKT. This is the CRKT Pilar. This one has a flipper tab. It can also be opened using the thumb hole here. Has pretty nice action. Blade steel on this is 8CR13 MOV with this kind of sheep's foot design. Has a G10 handle, just on the one side, on the show side, I guess. On the back, it's just the stainless steel. Pocket clip is reversible in this sense, but not reversible for left-hand carry. So it can be carried tip up or tip down, but there's nowhere to put it on this side. So if you're left-handed, that might not be the best option for you. Has the pocket clip there, as you can see. Definitely not deep carry pocket clip. Sticks out quite a bit out of your pocket, but that's not too bad. The blade length on this is 2.67 inches. The overall length is 6.69 inches. And this is designed by Jesper Voxnes. Design pretty common, or excuse me, pretty popular CRKT knife design. As you can see, you can hold it back here, in which I still get a pretty good full finger grip, but also has this choil, so you can really choke up and even get your thumb out here onto this kind of curve of the blade if you're really doing some sort of fine work. And it uses this, or it has a frame lock there, as you can see. All right, next up, we've got this. This is the CRKT Squid XM. Bit of a newer knife from CRKT, and this is the newest knife in my collection from CRKT. And this one is an assisted knife. So as you can see, if I even just press on this flipper tab, not without too much pressure, the blade flies open. And so they do have another, the CRKT Squid, but this is the XM, which I think stands for extra medium, which is kind of a bit of a funny name, but just is a bit larger than the standard Squid version. This one is with D2 blade steel, which is really nice, bit of a nicer material than the 8CR13 we've seen in a lot of these other knives. Has the G10 scales, again just on the one side, as this is also a frame lock. Right there, as you can see, has a nice loop over deep carry pocket clip there, with this sort of backspacer / lanyard hole, which is I kind of like that, just from a design perspective. The blade length is 2.95 inches. It's kind of in the spear point blade, or spear point blade shape. The overall length is 7.03 inches. And this is an assisted knife, which essentially just means that there's a spring internally here that just makes it easier to open the knife. So just by pressing on the thumb stud or the flipper tab without really too much force, just by pressing it out, then it just flings open. In terms of assisted knives, this has been said before, but I've had a few other assisted knives in the past, and the one thing that's kind of a downside to assisted knives is they're hard to close. So sometimes the spring tension is so strong that you need to close it like with one hand because there's so much force behind it. But with this one, still has a super snappy action, obviously. But the spring tension isn't too much that it's hard to close with one hand. So as you can see, just disengage the frame lock there. It folds into that position where there's a bit more of a spring, as you can see, but not too much to be overcome just by pushing down on the blade with your thumb. So that is the Squid XM. Couple more left here. Next up, I've got the CRKT CEO. Pretty popular knife again from CRKT. Has this nice deep carry loop over pocket clip. Super thin and slim design, as you can see. This one has the blade seal of 8CR13 MOV. And the handle material is just a GRN or glass reinforced nylon. Kind of has this interesting pattern, as you can see there, kind of a pintail-esque type design. The blade length for this is 3.11 inches. If I put it this way, that gives you a bit of a, I can see it easier. And the overall length is 7.63 inches. This one uses a liner lock there, as you can see, with thumb stud deployment. Really is only one, not super friendly for people who are left-handed, as there's only one thumb stud position here and one pocket clip position as well. Mine has a bit of an issue where the blade is extremely off-centered, as you might, hopefully you can see that if I put it down on the table there. Shaking the camera a bit, sorry about that. So it's quite off-centered, veers very much towards this side of the knife. So makes it a bit tricky to open sometimes, but still has a super snappy opening action, as you can see. So that is the CRKT CEO, and this is a Rogers design, as you can see there. And lastly, I have the CRKT Pete. And that's Pete spelled P-I-E-T. This is another knife designed by Jesper Voxnes. This one has again, 8CR13 MOV stainless steel with a glass-filled nylon handle. Kind of has this nice blue backspacer for a bit of an accent color, as you can see, and you can even see it through the lanyard hole there, which looks pretty nice in my opinion. Has a nice super deep carry pocket clip. Uses a liner lock. This one, the blade length on this is 2.6 inches, or on the website it says 2.625 inches, with an overall length of 6.5 inches. It has this kind of spear point blade with the thumb hole there. It can't be reverse flicked because it covers up most of the thumb hole on the other side where it's completely open on this side. Usually I'll just kind of slow roll it like that. You can flick it if you try, but in my opinion, it's not really that kind of knife to be flicked open like that. It's sort of meant to be slow rolled, just in its shape and design and size. So pretty nice. Still a pretty small knife, but you can still get a full 4-finger grip on there. There's a little choil up here. It's not really meant for that, but if you really wanted to, you could. I think that's more so meant to be a sharpening choil. But yeah, really nice little knife from CRKT. So there we have it. I'll lay them all out here again so you can see. So we've got the Overland, the Helical, the M16, the larger version, and a smaller version of the M16, the Squid XM, the Pilar, the Pete, and the CEO. So that's everything for this part 2 of my knife collection video, sharing all of the knives from CRKT. Still more parts in this series to come, so stay tuned for that. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments down below. Do you have any of these knives? And if you do, or even if you don't, which one do you like? Do you have a favorite, or is there one that you prefer? I'd also love to hear what knives you have from CRKT. If there's any that I don't have, I'd love to hear them down below. I know there's a ton of different models from CRKT, way more than I have here, but yeah, so let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. And if you like the other videos I'm making in general, please hit the subscribe button. I'm hoping to still have a lot more videos coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. That's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and take care.